Welcome to the Cole and Dre podcast, minus Dre. So I'm in here by myself today, and I got a special guest. I got my man, Judge.Joe Stephens. We went to school together. He graduated in 91, I graduated in 89, so I'm telling our age now. I don't know if y'all know how old I am, but I just said it's okay. But, man, welcome to the show, Joe.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. We were just having a conversation off air before we get into a few of the things that we want to talk about the new kid that's going to make it to the NBA or the NFL. And I think it was on the podcast that we had Lil Kiki. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But I mentioned you, and I said, Joe came from a two-parent household. He had a very good upbringing. And these are the kids that are going to make it now, because you're going to have two parents pretty much to shape and mold a kid in order to make it to the league. So those stories of the single-parent home kids making it, it's going to be far and few between. What do you think about that?
I think, I'm not going to say that they won't make it, but I think you have to have some type of a fatherly influence in your house, right? It's nowadays we've seen the movie 1,000 times. I think it's important to have the influence of a male in the house to help shape a young man's life, especially nowadays, because there's more trappings in society. And what I mean by trappings is you got the internet. You got so much more access to stuff that we didn't have access to, right? Like if I didn't have a ride somewhere, I just couldn't get there. Well, a kid nowadays can jump on Uber, go meet a 50-year-old chick he met online and be from the east side to Pearland in 35 minutes doing something he ain't got. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole lot more access now. So if you don't have somebody around you, some type of an OG, some type of a fatherly figure, man, you can fall into any kind of trap. Because for us, it was Fleming Road as a kid. You know what I mean? I was from a two-parent household. I still had the influences of guys I went to school with.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Guys that had the J's, guys that had the BMW BBSs on it, that was the D-boys back in the day.
Yeah.
So I tell guys, man, it's just a matter of having some positive influences around you, which is the reason why I'm doing all the stuff that I do now, just so kids can kind of see, man, you can be more than an athlete. You can be more than you can be a father, you can be a husband, you can be a business owner, you can be black and be a judge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Cool. You speaking of that part, though, like, I agree 100% with everything you said. I think it's a situation where this is another conversation we've been having. A lot of women are doing extremely well now, right? Yeah. So, and the problem, I won't say the problem because I'm not no hate. I'm congratulating you women that are doing great. But one of the challenges that comes with that, and me and Dre joke about it all the time, is women date laterally or up.
Yeah.
So, so now if you have all of these women that only date laterally or up, because I got a couple of my partners who ain't married and they got like 10 women, you know what I mean? And they all cool with it.
Yeah.
So if they ain't doing no lying, you number 5, you number 6, I'll get to you when I get, and they're happy with it.
Yeah.
So that makes it really difficult for a lot of men to be in a kid's life, because now if you have a mother that's doing much better than the father, those mothers are shunning the father and taking the fathers away from those kids. What do you think about that?
I think, man, it's people thought when Kevin Samuel was alive, he was crazy. Kevin Samuel is the brother that you talk about.
I like Kevin Samuel.
You talk about a high-value man. Mm-hmm. Well, man, if you got a lot of brothers incarcerated, a lot of brothers don't like females, and so if you have a very small number of men that are high-value men, like you said, they date laterally or up, you probably going to end up sharing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an unfortunate reality. But I think that hopefully women are learning that the importance of having a man in the household for kids,
Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to my boy Boston George on that one. Boston George let me know, I thought you in the way meant something totally different until Boston George came on the show. He gave me a new definition of being in the way. And what you remember that, Travis?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because it's a small circle where when you look at women, a lot of dudes meet each other through women, right? Yeah. Because the circle is really small.
You told a story about that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The circle get real small. So, Travis, you know what I'm thinking now, right? But I ain't gonna go there. But but like I think when I look at you, man, I want to say it publicly. I'm proud of you, man. Like I'm like literally proud of you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not much younger than me, but I'm like proud of you, man. I've watched you. It's good when I tell people, like, me growing up with Jay, I got a chance to see all of his accomplishments from start to now, right? I've had an opportunity, I probably had a closer picture with him than I had with you, but I've still had an opportunity to see all of your accomplishments. And, it's an inspiration to anybody, especially, those that's from the East Side. I think you're a staple in the community, and that's something that anybody should be proud of and look up to. I don't think we had anybody else that made it to the league in basketball outside of you.
A lot of football guys.
We have some football guys.
Close, man. Kerwin Roach is overseas doing well. Man, his dad went to Fur.
Right. Yeah, Roach. Shout out to Roach. What up, Roach? Did he?
Man, he's kind of my young fella, man. He's over playing for one of my old teams overseas now, doing well. Hopefully he'll get a chance in the league. And we had Jonathan Motley got picked up by the Clippers, but he hadn't played a game in the league. So yeah, to date, man, it's a shame that I'm the only guy from North Shore to have played in the NBA. And hopefully that'll change, man, because we get so much talent in football from this side of town. And but basketball it's tough, man. It's hard. I tell kids all this, it's hard to make it in basketball. You got 400 spots. You got now guys from Europe taking a lot of the spots in the league, and they can hoop. You know what I mean? And to make it as a professional athlete, I never tell the kids you can't make it, but you got to understand the kind of work that you got to put in to make it and the commitment that it takes. And unfortunately, when it comes to being great at something, there's no balance. I tell people all the time, you hear people, man, you need balance. You got to have a social life. You got to If you're trying to be great at something, there's not going to be any balance.
I know that to be certain. I got here 7:30 this morning. I'm still here right now. I'm probably not going to finish for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's kind of, I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's something I tell people all the time. They like, how did you snap back so fast? You work 8 hours, I work 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not how many hours you work, it's what you putting into those hours.
Exactly.
Because I can sit around here sometimes and play dominoes. So I ain't putting nothing into those hours. I'm just having fun. But there's a lot of times I'm sitting here and I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm researching, and I'm putting all these deals together. So that takes time. Yep. You know what I mean? That's honing your craft. And so I guess I'm sure the same thing goes into basketball, football, or whatever else. But transition. Well, I ain't gonna transition just yet. We're gonna stay there for a second on the sports side. What do you think your greatest challenge was from high school to college, from college to the NBA, and what advice do you have for guys that are trying to make that jump?
Man, I think my greatest challenge was one, getting acclimated to being outside of East Houston, right? I think when you're from Houston, I went to University of Colorado my first 2 years in college. You make the adjustment being away from home, living on your own. The main adjustment that I had to make from college to the NBA was being 22 years old with $600,000 in the bank, Lexus GS 300, because I was a big Jay-Z fan, and I bought my first car because Jay-Z had just come out with Reasonable Doubt, and having access to Club Phoenix, Club Echelon with a little money in your pocket, and all the trappings that come from being young with money, and having to, and then really going from being a person that your parents send you money to a person that's now providing for your family.
Right.
And man, and it's just that's a hell of an adjustment. Like I look at what's going on with Ja Morant right now, and people criticize the kid, but you got a $250 million contract.
And he's still a kid.
And you still a kid, and now you essentially become your parents' parent, right? They come to him for money now, and man, that's a hell of a thing. And you still, and they knock him for having a pistol. I'm like, hey man, you got a $250 million, you should carry a pistol. you should have security and a pistol.
Reals.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm by the grace of God, man, I made it through. I seen cats get robbed in Houston. I seen cats get shot. I seen basketball players get robbed. I made it through, knock wood, man, without any of that stuff happening to me. I had some good friends around me. And one of the best things I think I could have ever done is I didn't really surround myself with a bunch of yes men. You know what I'm saying? If I was doing something that wasn't cool, I had the kind of partners that be like, yeah, that ain't cool. Don't do that. You know, we ain't going that route. You know, we made some mistakes, but fortunately it was stuff that we could get out of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And thank God there wasn't no cell phone cameras back then.
Woo. Boy, thank God for that.
Man, you can't, you know, nowadays,
you can't get away with nothing.
Yeah.
You can't get away with nothing.
Yeah, man.
My son shows me all, you know, he's 16, and he always showing me something that happened at school. Just little stuff. I'm like, damn, man. Y'all record everything?
Everything.
Like, man, can't nothing get away? Like,
and it's a shame, man, because it's really kind of robbing you of your childhood, because it's at the point now where you know, you can't even, you know, who didn't have a fight at school and somebody got the best of them, right? And it's and at that point, you know, when you 3 people can watch a fight, and if a dude don't just get hugged, 2 may say 1 may say the other one. Nowadays, it's on tape, and you can rewind.
You can go really evaluate the whole situation.
He got his ass whooped. Look, he got hit right. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to watch that over and over and over again. And it's not too many people taking no ass whooping without some get back.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
especially when you got to watch it over and over again.
That's what I'm saying.
So now,
yeah.
like,
yeah,
he was showing me a fight at school, right? And I'm like, damn. I'm like, did you record this? No, my friend said, how many people?
Man.
He's like, everybody in the school
Everybody.
got it.
So
the whole school, he's like, man, everybody got it.
It might have been an incident that happened on the hallway over there where somebody got whooped, and everybody heard about it, but if you ain't see it, now everybody sees it within minutes, man. And so it really, you can't, you know, being a kid nowadays, the pressures that these kids have to deal with is completely different than the way we came up, man.
Yeah. He just wrecked his car. He totaled his car. And he devastated. I mean, it's kind of like his world and fell apart. I get it. He's 16.
Yeah.
But in his mind, Daddy, you could just give me another car. This ain't that big of a deal. But this is second time.
Yeah, nah.
So he going to have to do a little suffering, because you ain't having no small wrecks. You having major, I might kill myself wrecks. So I need to teach you a lesson. But it's like he devastated.
Yeah.
You know, his whole world is upside down now.
It ain't nothing compared to the devastation y'all would have by losing him. And so that's one thing with me being in the position I'm in now as a judge. I see kids like your son. Once, you see him twice, you say, slow down, young fella. Let me come holler at you. Let me take my robe off. I'm going to take you back in my office, and let's just chop it up, man. What you going through? Like, and some kids you looking at them, and they looking at you, and they get it, and you're like, okay, I got to that one. Some of them, man, they looking right through you. You know what I mean? And I done seen them, man. I give kids curve. You know, I'm a JP, so it's not a whole lot. I can't put you in jail. Well, I can put you in jail, but I'm not going to put you in jail. But I'll give a kid a curfew. Never forget this kid, man. Why I got to have a curfew? You know, talking all fly. I'm like, listen, man, I'm trying to help you, bro. Your mom is at work at Walmart, stocking it in the morning. You out hanging on Uvalde at the gas station. And so the kid buck. So 3 weeks later, they back. He broke the curfew, got in trouble again. Did it again. Give him a little harsher punishment, gave him a little fine. Man, about a month later, got a phone call. Kid got shot in the face on Uvalde. He's dead to this day. And I just like, man, you know, you try to do what you can to try to curb them and get them going in the right direction. But at some level, man, the kid has to be receptive to what you're trying to teach them, you know.
Yeah. And
then unfortunately, these kids think they know everything. And it's like, man, damn, I promise you, dog, there's nothing you doing right now that I hadn't seen or done.
Well, you know. I have a saying, I knew more at 21 than I know right now.
Yeah.
You know, I was just too stupid to know I ain't know shit. Right. So you think you know it all.
Yeah, man.
And one of the problems with these kids, I won't say problem, one of the challenges they have is, you know, we talk about, you know, like people will say, well, where the OGs at? But a lot of times, because of the access they have to the internet and information, see, we needed older people. Yeah. We needed OGs. We needed our parents to give us and guide us and give us this information.
Yeah.
They got everything right here.
Yeah.
My son has been home right now all day. He just called me about 30 minutes ago telling me he think he closed his first wholesale real estate deal. And I'm like, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm going to make $25,000 on this. I said, well, congratulations. I'm like, he been working at this a while. But it's kind of like, I was just kind of like in awe thinking like, damn, I wouldn't be doing that at 16.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
But he studies this all day.
Yeah.
He watch all these videos and he asks me questions that I'm like, I know, but how the hell you asking that question?
Yeah. But he gets that from you, though. He gets that from you because he's watched your entrepreneurship. You come around here and your parents on this, that plants a seed in the kid. You know what I'm saying? Whereas another kid that's somewhere in the neighborhood, who mom working a 9 to 5 or is bouncing from job to job, they wouldn't have that example in the same household. You know what I mean? So that's really a testament to, man, what you're doing in the seed that you planted in him, for him to even have that kind of interest. And I love hearing these kind of stories, because as a dude that was a former athlete, man, I used to sit at the games and, I backed up Clyde Drexler, so of course I didn't play a lot. But I would sit at the games and I'd be watching. I'd watch Les Alexander on the other side of the court. That's the old Rockets owner. Mm-hmm. And he'd be sitting next to the other owner. And I'd be like, I wonder if they're over there betting on us. I bet mine can jump higher than yours. I bet mine can run. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this dude, I'm at the end of the bench. I ain't played in a month of Sundays, and he paying me $600,000. He paying Dream and them $15, $20 million a year. What kind of money is he making?
That's always what I want to know.
And that's the real, like, my thing is, man, the hell with being the hooper. Man, let's own the team. Let's own the league. Like, we're the talent. Everybody out there looks like us until you get into the ownership. And then they got their own little, same with the NFL, got their own little club that we can't get in. And they making billions of dollars, man, on our image, on our likeness, on our talent, on all the stuff we've done in the hood our whole life, honing our skills. And then they get the profit from it. And I think, man, it's time for us to start grooming young entrepreneurs. Hooping is cool. I'm not knocking hooping. Hooping is great. But I'd much rather own the team and be able to provide opportunities and equity for people that look like me, rather than just run up and down the court. Because once you're done running up and down the court, you see it just like I do. Guys can't figure out their next move. I've been blessed, man, to have 3 or 4 different careers. I went from basketball to real estate investment to owning a mortgage company to selling that to now doing insurance, still have my insurance agency, running for public office. Now I'm a judge, just finished law school. So,
congratulations,
man. Appreciate it, brother. I tell guys all the time, if you want to know if you're a real player, be able to jump into different genres and be successful. Like Jay-Z told Dame Jazz, they say they made whole.
Make another hole.
Make another hole. Yeah. So if you him, you ought to be able to do it over and over again, and change the genre and do it again and excel to the top of that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I was in the feds, right? And I did 8 years in the feds, and I was teaching the real estate class and financial literacy, and I was blown away at how many dudes that couldn't read, how many guys that never had a checking account, how many guys never had a car in their name, never bought a house. I was like, and so they was like, hold on, Cole, man, listen, you going too fast. You got to take me back to the beginning, Then they wanted to get private coaching sessions from me. Like, man, and it was crazy, because what happens, and I don't know if it's happened with you, but you can get in your own zone, in your own world, with just the people you deal with, that you mesh with, and you can get disconnected, and you think you connected. Like, you're connected because you're JP, so you see things that consistently remind you, right? But say when you're in the league, if you hang, like you say, when you go into Phoenix, you go into different clubs, and you getting this VIP treatment now, you know what I mean? You don't really know, you do, but you don't see those same struggles.
Right.
So there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember in 2008, my cousin Kobe told me, man, you don't have the same struggles we have. You go behind them gates and you go into a 10,000 square foot house, and he said, you don't have these same struggles. You come through here, but you disconnected.
Right.
And I felt some type of way about that, right? I really did, but I got it after a while. I got it. So where I'm going with that is, when I was in there, and I'm telling dudes, like, I'm not bragging, but this has been my life. You know what I mean? I really hang out with all these people you see. You know what I'm saying? Like, in these pictures, these really the homies. And you start to see, like, damn, okay, maybe I have been a little different. What do you think about that?
I think, man, it's important to surround yourself with people that are successful. Whatever success is to you, right? Like I tell kids nowadays, if you want to be a doctor, you don't have to wait till you go to med school to start hanging around doctors. It's a doctor's office somewhere in your neighborhood. If you went over there and knocked on the door in the summertime and said, I just want to come hang out and watch you and shadow you for a day. And I promise you, I tell my daughter's a world-class golfer at Texas A&M. She was number 20 in the country coming out of high school. She's won national championships, and she's a freshman. They're number 5 in the country right now at A&M. And I tell her, if I put you in a group, a foursome of professional golfers, and you went out and played with those 4 golfers, LPGA professionals, every day, same as you. If you was 19 years old again, and I put you in a pickup game with Clyde Drexler, Keem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, and Adrian Cole, and you did that shit for 3 years, by the end of that 3 years, you would be a professional basketball player.
Oh,
and people would be like, who the hell is that dude that be with Mike? And he can hoop, because you're going to pick up the mannerisms. My mom told me when I was finishing at Arkansas Little Rock, I was roommates with Derek Fisher in college at Little Rock. When I transferred from Colorado, we were coached by Wimp Sanderson, who had coached Latrell Sprewell and Robert Horry at Alabama. Wimp got in trouble at Alabama, came to Little Rock, and we hired him, and he was our coach. And my mom said, what you gonna do when you get out of college? What you plan on doing? Well, I'm playing the NBA. How many pros you playing against every day? Who you practicing with? I was like, damn, and that's how she used to drop me little nuggets like that, just to make me think. And so I was like, okay, she trying to tell me I need to go find some pros to play with. Yeah. So I started going to Fondy Recreation Center, and I just sit on the sideline at Fondy with my gear on every day. After about 2 weeks of doing that, I'd kind of shoot after the guys left. Everybody was there, Moses Malone,
everybody,
Rodney McCray,
anybody
Clyde,
you can think of was at Fondy.
Dream, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith. I mean, everybody was there. And so eventually, guys would get tired. Young fella, you want to play? Yeah, okay, jump in. You jump in, you run down the court, get shot blocked, fumble the ball out of bounds, you're nervous, you know what I'm saying? In a couple of days, you make a shot. Oh, shit. Damn, I just shook the shit out of Robert. Oh, I dunked on someone. You know what I mean? And then the next thing you know, you're like, okay, you stick in your chest, I belong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I think with you hanging around guys that were successful, that was your inner, whatever that was, seeking what you knew you should and could be. You know what I'm saying? And some people aren't comfortable in those rooms, right?
Right.
Some people are related to those people, and they're around them, and they still kind of looking up. And then there's other people that see that and be like, oh, man, I can do that. You know what I mean?
That's how I always felt.
That's how I feel now. I got partners. I had a partner the other day, my boy Ronnie. I'm sitting in my house, and I'm still striving. I'm still trying to. I'm at my house. Hey man, what you doing? I'm here chilling. Ronnie, what's up? Hey, come outside. He done landed a helicopter in my front yard. Let's roll. I'm like,
work.
Hey,
I'm a fan of good work.
He landed a helicopter. We at the casino in 45 minutes. It take me 2 hours to drive down there when I want to go down there and do some blackjack or something. So what I'm saying that it's levels, man, and it's always good to surround yourself. And again, I'm still I love being around Ronnie, his boy Fayaz. He's a day trader. These boys making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, man. And the kind of freedom that they have when I think I'm doing something, taking my family to Bastrop for the weekend or to Cancun, these boys gassing the jet up and they in St. Bart's in 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? On their own planes.
It put a whole different perspective on it. One of the things I used to do when I was really getting it in, every time I went to Vegas and I just sat around and I would go to the high roller tables and watch people lose millions of dollars with a smile. And it was a reminder to me. You got a long way to go.
Long way to go.
You got a long way to go.
My rookie year, man, we went down to the Bahamas. It was me, Mark Davis, Tim Bro, Chris Morris, who played for the Utah Jazz for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I'm a young fella, man. If I got $3,000 in my pocket, I'm balling. And Chris Morris, man, had $100,000 on blackjack and lost. And I'm sitting there like, damn, that was a big body Benz. I'm like, that nigga, I see he just lost a big body Benz. And I'm like, dang, and I hadn't even got my first, that was before the GS 300, man. I'm like, golly. But it just kind of let me know, like, okay. Because I'm hooping with him every day. I'm like, okay, I know I can get with him. I'm like, okay, I don't want to lose $100,000 on blackjack, but I do want to be able to play $100,000 one day on blackjack. So, yeah, man, yeah.
Beautiful. That's making me think about I think what was the dude? Was that Wink? You wasn't there with us. Was you there when Davis lost that money?
Oh, Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
He sat there and lost almost $1 million.
I loaned this dude, one of my guys, my Oriental guys. I loaned the man $15,000 in Vegas. Go upstairs, take a shower, go grab something to eat, come back. He up $750,000.
Ooh, off of 15.
Off of 15, he playing Baccarat. And so I told him I need my money back right now while you up. You know, we finna go to the club.
Exactly.
He told me that's bad luck. I said, no, I don't give a damn if it's bad luck and I get my money back.
Right.
So I get $25,000 from him. We go to the club and come back, he was broke.
Yeah, I've seen it happen too. Yeah, I've seen it happen.
And he gonna blame it on me. It was my fault because I should have never messed with him while he was gambling.
That's crazy.
So it sounded like I was smart to get my damn money back from him.
Man, I got to be good friends with Lamont Warren. We still boys to this day. Lamont was the running back at CU Boulder before Rashawn Salam got there.
Okay.
And Rashawn ended up winning the Heisman. So Lamont ended up going to the Colts. He was in the backfield with Marshall Faulk.
Okay.
So we go to Vegas. Lamont got a partner named Mookie. Mookie from L.A. owns a bunch of rehab centers. Serena and Venus is one of his big clients. Mook comes up, and it's always a party when Mook comes because Mook got a duffel bag full of cash. We going to play we shooting craps. I'm up 80,000. Lamont is up about 30. Lamont shot for an hour and a half straight without crapping out in Vegas. Mook won 180,000. The pit boss was making a phone call to somebody, and at the time, Joe Torre was the guy for the Yankees. Don Zimmerman, the whole Yankees front office, comes down with these big old stacks of chips, put them down on our table. They started tipping Lamont $1,000, $2,000 just because he was winning so much money. We won all this money. We go to the club that night. Now we're going to go home and chill. My dad is up in the room. We're going to play $1,000 a hole the next day at the golf course. We said, do not go back and gamble no more. Everybody take your winnings and go home. Got a limousine downstairs the next morning waiting on us. Lamont gets in the car. I get in the car with my dad. Where Mook at? Lamont shaking his head. I'm like, what you mean? Man, he went back to the thing. He lost 180,000 and he lost 60 of his. He going back and gambling after we played that night, man.
He ain't gonna be Vegas. I don't know why everybody try.
We still talk about that to this day, man. Mook, I mean, it was crazy. Good dude. And I have not seen Mook since that weekend. That was probably 13 years ago.
You ain't gonna beat him. You ain't gonna beat. So you ain't gonna beat him. What was it that made you want to be a judge, man? What made you say I'm gonna go be a judge?
You know what, man? I was on the school board, kind of doing what I had always done on the east side, right? When I started playing for the Rockets, I started doing basketball camps over here.
Okay.
And I would hoop at Fondy, like I'm telling you, and the dudes, instead of going to the strip club every day, I want to do something constructive with my time. So I started working with kids. And I would bring Robert over. I'd trick them cats to come on this side. Rob, man, come roll with your boy, man. We jump in my car. Where we going, Joe? We go to my side of town. And I'd pop up on my basketball camp.
He wanted to come over here anyway.
Yeah. And I would, they love the high 10 cabaret, so for sure. So we would, they would come speak to my kids, man. And I did that for years. And then I ran for school board once I sold my mortgage company in 2008. And I won that seat right after Obama had won. And I served on the school board for 9 years working with kids. And truancy was a big deal in Texas back then. That was a criminal. They were giving kids criminal charges for truancy. Yeah, it was a Class C misdemeanor. And and the parents. Yeah, and I would.
This
go,
was in 2008?
And from 2008 to it didn't change to about 16. As soon as I got in office,
I guess I didn't have that problem with my kids, so I wasn't aware.
Yeah, it was a criminal charge, despite the fact of kids' upbringing and some of them have to work and stuff that they had to go through. Man, they were throwing time at kids. And I would moonlight with Judge Parrott and talk to the kids in his court, and so he decided to retire. And I was like, man, I'm gonna run for that seat. And I didn't know at the time you didn't have to be an attorney to be a justice of the peace. And so I ran and I won, and that's kind of what I did, man. And even to this day, even though it's not a criminal charge to be truant, I just make it a point, man. Anytime a kid comes through my court, I got a lot of outreach programs, Boys Rock, where we teach young men how to tie neckties and stuff. Really, I did it, man, to really continue to work and help kids, but also give minorities access to justice, right? I wanted people that come through there to see somebody from the community that looks like them, that's the judge, but that doesn't judge, right? It's not a
judge that doesn't judge.
Yeah, I'm not. Man, look, we've all, we ain't nobody's perfect, but I'm gonna do my job. But at the same time, it's the kind of job where I had a professional attitude to help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there to throw the book at nobody And you get some people come through because you are the judge and you got the robe on, and they automatically they mad because it's because it's the system, right? You represent the system. I'm like, if you knew me, like if we go to my car, I probably got some little baby and some kiki. Like I'm probably the coolest dude you're gonna meet in your life. Just relax. I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'll talk through it. Even if it's an eviction, man. If I'm even putting somebody out of their house, I'm explaining to you to the point where the next time you do a lease agreement with a landlord, you're gonna understand what your rights are and what you can ask for up front, so you don't find yourself in this situation again. You know what I mean? And even if I can intervene, like I had a case today where you could tell it was just a pissing match between the landlord and so I'm like, slow down. Why don't we do an agreement where they'll move out by this date? They won't have an eviction on their credit. You get possession of your property. They get to go on and move down the road. Well, now I want to put it on there. I said, well, slow down, because here's what could happen. Statutorily, they have a right to appeal. Anytime you adjudicate in the court of law, constitutionally, you have a right to an appeal. That's your right. Everybody in America has a right, whether it's federal, criminal, it doesn't matter. You got a right to an appeal. If they appeal, your property's going to be tied up for another 60 days until the downtown courts hear that case. I'm giving you a way out where now this person feels like they walked away on their own recognizance. And chances are they're not going to, balk on this deal. And if they do, I'll still give you possession of your property back. And they were like, okay, I'll do that, Judge. But just stuff like that, little common sense solutions where you can kind of interject, stuff to help people work out these, disputes that they get into sometimes.
You might need a reality show, man. You thought about it?
I was in San Diego for a golf tournament for my daughter about 4 years ago, and some producers drove up from L.A. This show where this real cute black lady that's on there now, they wanted to do divorce court, and they were going to have two judges, me and her, and people go through divorces, and then when they went through the divorce, we'd go in the back and we'd deliberate, and I give the male perspective, she'd get a female perspective, but I would have had to give up my current bench because those guys are not sitting judges. They're but it was a pilot still, and I'm like, I'm not gonna give up my job for a pilot. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait till I get a little bit older and I'm done doing this, and maybe then, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a lot. There is one I saw, the divorce judges. You ever seen that show? Yeah, they they're okay.
It's okay. It's really nothing for us, man. They don't have nothing for us. It's a lot of stuff for like some older people or some, and nobody's cool. You know what I mean? It's kind of people that's really out of touch. Yeah. I think they need something to bring in a younger, newer crowd, because the baby boomer crowd they checking out, man. You know what I'm saying? They checking out, and so you really gonna have to, if you're gonna keep these court shows going, you're gonna have to get a court show that's kind of not really necessarily love and basketball, hip hop wise or whatever, but you're going to have to kind of bring that world, that reality show world, to want to watch those kind of shows.
They need your swagger.
It's going to be.
They need your swagger. They need something like that. They need somebody with some swagger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They need that Joe Stephens swagger on there, man.
So call me.
Speaking to like on the eviction side, right? It's kind of like I hate being a landlord. Because if you get some really savvy renters, they going to move you from municipal court to district court, back to municipal. They going to work you for 6 months, 9 months if they really savvy. Yeah. So when you giving real life solutions, they better take them.
It's a shame, man, because what happened with the pandemic to landlords was not good, man, because we were getting a lot of pressure as JPs to stop doing evictions. And I'm like, listen, when I took the oath of office, it was to follow the law and the Constitution. If Adrian Cole is a landlord and he's had a tenant breach a contract, he's seeking a judicial remedy, and that's what the court of law is for. So now you come down there and you say, look, this person has breached the contract that we had. Now, if you take that off the table and say, well, even if they breach a contract, you can't put them out, you're going to call somebody to go over there with a pistol and get their property back because, and really cause some more problems. And then also, you still got to pay your taxes. You still got to pay your
mortgage if you got a mortgage.
You still got to pay your mortgage. And so that's what I was telling the higher-ups, the commissioners and these congresswomen that was coming at me, with all this pressure. Why don't you go back to D.C. and tell these banks to stop mortgage payments for landlords?
Yeah.
Why don't you work for the county, you're a commissioner, why don't you stop taxing people? But, Yeah, that's politics, though. It's always a
But see, you have a different perspective because you're a business owner. A lot of these people have been politicians their whole life.
They politicians,
so
man.
if you're a career politician and not a business owner, you know, you're going to have a different perspective on it.
But I'm the guy that's in the trenches that's seeing the brother in court that has 3 properties and people ain't moving out. And he's got bank statements where he's in foreclosure on 2 of his properties. Judge, I'm trying to keep my family's house together. I got these 3 rental properties that I bought to leave my kids. I can't keep all this going with these able-bodied people staying in my house that's not paying
free.
For free. You know what I'm saying? And I get that. And not that I'm even advocating for either side. I'm just saying, if the man has had a contract that's breached, I'm going to listen to that case and I'm going to make a ruling on it based on what the law says.
Right. I'm over here trying to figure out. You know, Lonnie, our producer over here, got all these damn questions, and we just having a regular conversation, y'all. Y'all know how this go, man. But this is actually a good question. Now, you ain't do this. This is something LaFlower did, huh?
AI did.
AI did it? Really? She used ChatGPT on this? You bullshit. For real?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, but depending on what questions you're going to ask.
Oh, man, I'm you know what? I was just finna say, what are your community plans for the future?
But that was one we came up with.
Yeah, so, but, man, let's talk about that, man. What do you think? Because before we go to your community plans for the future, that brings about a whole nother topic of discussion. Have you used ChatGPT and some of these AIs?
I've heard about it, man. It's
they dangerous,
yeah,
man.
it's crazy.
I had it because I normally use Fiverr. I normally would go on Fiverr or freelance and get people to do different things like write a business plan, do me a marketing proposal and stuff like. Man, I did this on ChatGPT. I put a small prompt in of probably 2 sentences, and it wrote me a 14-page business plan.
Yeah, let me get one of them napkins right there, man.
Blew
Yeah, that's crazy,
away.
man. It's
I'm like, man, what does this do for the future? These kids got it hard, man. How they gonna? I mean, like, what are y'all gonna do?
The papers, man. It's you know, the technology that they have is incredible. I mean, it's a degree at some point is not even gonna matter because all the answers are online. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even with my law school stuff, the law school stuff I just did, like, there's no new cases. All the cases have been briefed already. It's you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you really don't have to think anymore, which is scary. You know what I mean?
Really scary.
Yeah,
it's so scary. Like my daughter, man, my 24-year-old. Happy birthday, baby. She just had her birthday yesterday, and she graduated from TSU, and she I'm sorry, but I got to throw you under the bus. You know I love you, girl. But this my baby can really not make it nowhere without no GPS. Like
yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Directions,
I'm trying to. What's the address? What do you need to know the address for? You've been here 10 times.
Right. Yeah.
Like you literally don't know from here to here.
Turn for turn, man. Don't know what they passed up. No landmarks. Just yeah.
Man, she threw me off so bad one night. She said, I don't know. Something seemed to be going wrong with my car, Dad. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, okay, where you at? And she said, hold on. So I'm like, I thought she clicked over.
Yeah.
She told me, she said, it say I-69.
Oh my God.
I said, are you serious? So you on 59? Where are you at? Hold on, just hold on. And then she told me the exit she was at, and I'm like, damn, you a college graduate?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really handicapped these kids. It's funny you say that because even in golf with my daughter, they had these little GPS devices where you can shoot the distance to a certain target. And I played golf in high school, man, and my dad introduced me to the game at an early age. And I used to have to use landmarks and trees and like walk off the distance with my feet and and even just from a depth perception, man. But if you shoot a basket, you're not measuring how far it is to go. You got to be able to feel the game. So I would take that device away from my daughter just so she had to feel how far something was, man. Because if I'm sitting here from me to him and I'm shooting him, like I ought to be able to just throw something to him and he catches it.
It's measurable right there.
Yeah. But you find a lot of these kids, man, in these different sports like golf that they're so reliant on technology and stuff to get their distances and stuff that Tiger Woods and guys like that, they're able to feel that stuff. These kids are real kind of robotic, man, these days,
Yeah. You know who love golf, man, that used to trip me out so badly, like Bonzi. Bonzi Wells used to play for the Rockets.
Yeah, I know Bonzi.
And Bonzi didn't want to he didn't want to play basketball. He wanted to be a golfer. And
It's
I'm like,
a hell of a game.
listen,
dude.
Bonzi, basketball playing you on. That's where your money at. He wanted to golf every day.
Faces like that. Scarface.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
he think he a Pee Wee
like
League
that,
coach
man.
and a golfer.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's a game that you can play at this age. I'm 50. I just turned 50, man. So it's a game that you can play for the rest of your life. A lot of business deals go down on the golf course. A lot of guys. I was at my country club yesterday, man, and it's doctors, physicians. A lot of guys I do business with. A lot of guys. If my knee is bothering me, I got Walter Lowe, the Rockets knee doc. You know what I'm saying? Just so many people that you around out there. It's a good game, man. It's a good game.
You play golf, Lonnie? No, sir. I didn't think so. You can't see the hole, huh? I'm not lying.
Tell him stall me out, Lonnie. Stall me out, man. Golf Club of Houston. Yeah, there and out at Black Horse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had did a when Carlton Woods first came about, right?
Great golf course.
So I had a couple of houses. Matter of fact, we had built the house next to Pastor West.
Okay.
He was out there, right? And so the guy told me, I tell you what, if you throw the golf membership in, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
And we was kind of like 60, 70 grand apart. He picked me and knew I didn't know, right? I threw it in. That was goddamn $100,000 golf membership.
Yeah,
I'm like,
easy.
man,
Yeah.
I didn't realize what I had gave away.
Yeah.
Because I don't golf.
And that was
I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
and that was cheap because now it's probably 4 times that to join.
And it was an older white guy, and he told me after we went to closing, he said, "You didn't do your homework, son." I say, "What you mean?" I'm thinking, okay, well, I just got an additional 75 grand. I don't remember exactly what we. He said this golf membership is $100 grand. He said, "I know you didn't know nothing about golf."
That's crazy. Well, legally you could have got him because that was he knew you. He was negotiating from a position of strength. It's called undue influence in law. You could have got him. You could have sued him.
I took it as a learning lesson.
Yeah,
I said, okay. And I really took. That's all I did.
Yeah.
What is it called now?
Undue influence is when you're bargaining or negotiating with somebody and they're in a position of strength and knowledge and you don't really know. You know what I mean? And it's
damn, I do that to people myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you had a super strong case, but you probably had a case to be like, look, he knew what it was and I didn't, so maybe can we rescind that part of the deal,
God, well, you got over on me. I ain't gonna even say his name. I can tell y'all. I ain't gonna even do him like that. But okay, so we can go back to our question. What are your future plans in the community?
Man, I am continue to do what I'm doing. I'm gonna do one more term as a JP. And then I think probably run for higher office, to be honest. I'm either going to probably run for, I'm not going to say. I just wait. The way my life has always worked, stuff has kind of opened up. Somebody may retire, whatever happens in politics, and maybe run for higher office. And if not, probably just practice law, honestly, and just do it in the neighborhood and be able to help folks that need help. I get a lot of cases come through the court, man, and black folks not knowing the law, not knowing what their rights are. I love what Ben Crump does in terms of helping our people get access to justice. I think it's needed. I think we need more black attorneys, not minority attorneys. We need more black attorneys, people in our community that know the law, more black business owners like yourself to be able to. We need equity, man. We need equity. And I'm unapologetic about it, man. People come to me for my support all the time, from mayor and otherwise. And what is your black agenda? I need to know what your black agenda is. And I don't think we should have to apologize for asking for a black agenda. You know what I mean?
Strongly agree with you
seriously,
on that,
man,
because everybody. Well, I think what you have is a lot of people that they won't say this is their agenda, but that's their agenda.
Well, and
the agenda is, and I think, like I tell people, like you said, you were watching Les Alexander and the other owners talk. I don't think they're actually racist as much as people say they're racist. I think what happens is we deal with the people that deal with us, even if they happen to be, most of the time, most of your friends are probably black.
Yeah.
Don't mean you don't like white people or Hispanics or Asians. That's just your that was a part of your comfort zone that you grew up with. Y'all listen to the same music, have a lot of the same background.
Right.
So what ends up happening is they're placing their agenda based on their friendship and their ties, their family ties and their friendship ties.
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of people miss that. So when you say, what is your black agenda? I think you're perfectly right to say so.
We need equity, man. When it comes to these contracts, when it comes to doing business with the city, doing business with the county, doing business with municipalities, you'll find these contracts go to this. I mean, it's billions of dollars of contracts that come through this city. And as many African-American elected officials as we have, we should have a bigger piece of the pie. Maynard Jackson was the former mayor of Atlanta. Hartsfield International Airport, when you go to Atlanta, from the tarmac to the terminal was built by African Americans. When he became the mayor, it's a documentary on Netflix, I'm not making this up, it's called Maynard, M-A-Y-N-A-R-D. Mm-hmm. He called all the bank owners in when he first became mayor, and he said, hey, looked at your board, and I'm noticing, with a city as diverse as ours, and now we have an African American mayor, your board doesn't reflect what this city looks like. Well, with all due respect, Mayor, you do your business and we'll do ours. Okay, no problem. Thank you for coming by my office today. We'll go check with some banks in California to see if they like the deposits for the city of Atlanta. He's basically a veiled threat. I'm gonna take the city's money and put it in the bank, and so then what happened was those banks started adding African Americans to their boards, and so therefore now lending started happening in black community, contracts. So when you go to Atlanta and you have a fundraiser, and like here in our city, if you go to have a fundraiser, you got to go to River Oaks and raise your money, or Bel Air or West University. Mm-hmm. In Atlanta, you have a fundraiser, Keisha Lance Bottoms. It ain't just Tyler Perry's in the room and T.I.'s. You got just average brothers, everyday brothers in there that's got a $20,000 check to write to a politician because they do so much business with the city of Atlanta. And I think here in this city, we don't have that. We have these fraction, splintered. We're still clamoring for these minority contracts, the 25%, and then you got 5 brothers trying to get the same 25%. Meanwhile, the non-minority has the prime contract, and he's making all the money. So we need equity, man. And you go to Bel Air and over in the southwest part of town and past the Beltway, all these Asian banks.
I was over there last night.
Asian banks,
and
man.
It is that
all of the restaurants.
I went down from Bel Air to Dairy Ashford because I went and met a friend of mine over there last night, and I've been there. But I think as you grow and you gain more knowledge, you start to look at things different.
Come on, man.
From the Beltway of Bel Air all the way to Dairy Ashford, it's
Come on, man.
Chinese or Vietnamese writing.
Yeah.
This is their entire community.
And they have their own infrastructure. They don't have to go to anybody else to borrow money. They have a partner that has a bank that speaks their language when they walk in the bank. Same thing is happening with Hispanics now. They're starting to get a much larger piece of the pie, and they meet. They elected officials. They meet. They spin out whole elected slates from school board all the way up to Congress who they want to support, and there's no diversity. I never see a couple of whites, a black. There's never any diversity. They're pushing their own agenda. So we have to be unapologetic. And I'm not saying be uninclusive, right? I mean, I think blacks innately are inclusive, right? We always, if we start a business, man, I'm gonna give me a white guy to do this. I want my business to look like the city. We're like that by nature. So I think we'll always do the right thing, but we have to have a us-centered agenda so that we can, get out of the situation we're in, man. We need jobs, we need opportunities, you know what I mean? And I think, whatever my next move is in the community is definitely going to include access to justice and providing equity for black folks, man.
I love it. Yeah, Travis, you going to vote for him? You got everybody voting in the room already, man.
Appreciate it, man.
I don't even know. I got to check and see, can I vote? Y'all good, man. I don't know. I had to check. I ain't vote the last time. They took a dude to jail who had a felony for voting. I don't know the whole part of the case.
Man, we'll find. I think you can vote, brother. Don't. Yeah, no. And that's.
That's because I just found out I can get my gun license back.
Yes, you can vote, man. I think that's one thing too, man. Is with our community too, man. Is the lack of information, man. Good information, right? Yeah. I think a lot of times barbershops and beauty shops fuel where we're getting our information from, and we have these fears of the boogeyman, and I get it, man. Especially like with the pandemic, with the vaccine and all of that stuff that was going on. I think it's important that we get good information in our communities, man, because it's imperative that we are equipped with the knowledge to help ourselves out of our own situation, man. It's what's keeping us from prospering. I go to court every Wednesday, and most people that look like me that are in court are being evicted. That's just the reality. Me and my bailiff talk about it all the time. I sit there and I sit on the bench, and I'm like, if it's 25 black people in the room, maybe one of them is a property manager, and the other 24 are tenants that's being evicted.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking at Hispanics that come to the bench. They own properties. Some of them don't even speak English. I have to have them translate so they can put the African American tenant out of the property that used to be owned by Big Mama. They got foreclosed on for taxes. The Hispanic dude bought it for cash, and he's putting us out of Big Mama's house.
I'm dealing with that situation right now with my grandmother, and we sat down and we talked about it right before she passed, and I begged her to just put a will in place, right?
Yeah. So
she did end up putting a will in place, but she did what she thought was fair, but what's fair is not always best.
Right.
And so, she said, well, this is a family house, and everybody can be. I mean, it's a disaster.
You got 10 hands in the pot.
Right.
You got
and
one person with the ability to pay the tax.
Yeah,
you got one.
Nobody's going to pay the taxes but me.
And and this is to keep the property from going to somebody else. And then now when I want to sell it or get mine back, I got to get 9 signatures from all of y'all, and then you got that one jackass family member that don't. I know where you.
My uncle.
I know where you at.
That'll be my uncle.
I know
he never selling this, that, and the other. And then here's the other part. So now they're already elder. My grandmother was 90, so her kids is 60, 65, 70.
Yeah.
And 72.
Yeah.
And so now when they pass, now you got to deal with their kids. Man, this is a problem we having up in Shreveport.
Yeah. Estate planning, man, in our community, and having really just a succession plan in general, right? Like if you look at that's this book I was writing, man. I'm gonna end up finishing it, man. It's the Black Baptist Pastor Syndrome. You say, man, what is that? You go to churches from Detroit to L.A. to Chicago to Houston, and you ride by these churches in the hood, and you're like, damn, man, when I was a kid, that was a thriving. That church used to be packed. I remember the old Fines, the Red Bone, so-and-so used to go to church. That church was bumping when I was a kid. Now it's this dilapidated building with nobody going to church, no members. They say, man, what happened to the church? Well, what happened was there was no succession plan. The pastor literally and figuratively died in the pulpit. And when the pastor passed away, he was so into being the pastor, he never said, young fella, you're going to be my successor. I'm going to announce this to the whole congregation, kind of what Lawson did over at Wheeler with Cosby. That doesn't really happen in our community. Like the older black men, they got it out the mud, so they want us to get it out the mud. Whereas our contemporary white kids, they have trust. Their parents pass down wealth. They leave a legacy for them, so they don't have to start from -20 like we did and build it out the mud. And the pastor dies, half the church wants deacon such and such, the other half wants the young Kirk Franklin cat. Membership gets pissed off, everybody goes to different churches, and now you got these dead churches on every corner. We have to start having a succession plan like you put in this young fella right here, where he understands, son, you're going to earn it. Your ass going to take some trash out, you're going to do da-da-da, but when I'm gone, you finna get this, this, and this. And it's gonna be clearly defined who gets what. So when I die, there's no ambiguity and there's no guessing to who gets what. And then you guys can go ahead. But that leaving one, but she didn't know any better. But leaving that one house to 10 people, and so-and-so on crack, so-and-so ain't buy nothing. And
how
now
you know my uncle now?
And this is because it's my uncle too. Because it's my uncle too. This is what happens in the black America. This is what happens to us. It's the same shit. We all got crackheads in our family. We all got cats that ain't doing nothing, and it's gonna end up falling on me and you. We gonna pay the taxes, and I still got to deal with them when it comes to, splitting everything up, So it's it's unfortunate, but as we get older, man, hopefully we know better and we start to do better so that we can set ourselves up the way some of these other races have set their families up,
Yeah. Well, a lot of that comes with access.
Yeah.
So, as you get any type of wealth, you get more access.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, we were, was it Mexico? Oh, Hawaii. I can't remember. We were in Hawaii, man. And we were coming back, and I didn't realize, sometimes you don't know you bougie, right? I'm kind of bougie. I ain't realized. Because I was really pissed off because my wife booked some seats that was, wasn't first class seats. And if you don't know about first class, it don't even matter where you sit.
Yeah.
But when you accustomed to sitting here, it's hard to walk past them seats.
It is.
Because now you looking like, I'm supposed to be right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You looking like, damn, I'm supposed to sit right here.
You smell the food back there in the back, but you can't get none. You got to buy the bento box. You got to pay for the box back there.
And so that comes with access, man, because as you have access, you learn a lot of things. Like Mr. Jared J. Moore, man, he gave me so much game. Billionaire guy. He passed away. He had a house over there, a fryer truck, 26-car garage. Just Mr. Moore. Yeah, he built
Wow.
like he had a 20-something year contract with Walmart where he built all of them, right? But I was explaining to him, as a matter of fact, Jay bought the land for where he built the gym at, and that's because he owned practically damn near all of Fifth Ward, so you wasn't gonna miss him if you wanted to buy something over there, right? So I was telling him about. Excuse me, I'm doing a little real estate. I'm buying and selling, fixing up some things. And I said, I don't know how we got on this subject. I said, I partnered up with a broker. I was happy. I said, I partnered up with this broker, and, we get, I say, we split the money, we split the deal. And he said, why would you do that, son? I say, no, that's the way it's done, ain't it?
Yeah.
He said, why don't you just make him a part of your company and you keep all the money and you pay him a flat fee?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I say, damn, you can do that?
Yeah.
So I went back to my broker, who to this day is still upset with me, but he'll be all right. Shit, I figured it out after that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen, I'm going to give you $20,000 for the year just to be on this LLC with me, and that's it. Yeah. So he didn't take the deal, so I went and gave Chris $10,000 to be to broker, to hold his license under my company.
Yeah.
I just gave y'all some real game right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let them people go to school for doctors, dentists.
Oh yeah, that's always been my philosophy. Because that's what Mr. Moore said. He said, "Oh no, son." I said he had dental offices. The man had everything you can think of when it came to business, right? Yeah. So I say, Mr. Moore, you must have went to school forever. He said, "Oh no, son, I dropped out in 6th grade. I just figured out if I had the money, I can get those people to go to school." I say, "Damn."
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that man told me that it changed my life. Yep. Changed everything.
Yep.
This is why I have a clinic over here. You know what I mean? That I hire doctors and I can work with them now. Because you get it.
Really essentially you're Les Alexander. They're the talent, right? They're the basketball player, and you're the owner.
I'm working on getting there, man.
Yeah.
Man, I can huh? Listen, I ain't finna go into that because we're gonna be forever. But
and I do have to get home.
Because I gotta wrap this one up. Yeah, so man, because I can sit here and have an intelligent conversation like this for a long time, man. So I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. Looking forward to you got a fundraiser on April the 27th right here at Papacito's.
April 27th, Papacito's, 5:30 to 8. Come on out, man. It'll be a good time to fellowship. The mayor will probably be there. There'll be some politicians in the house and just some good old neighborhood folks, man. And kick off it's a 50th birthday celebration and kicking off my 2024 campaign.
Well, we're going to come in and give a donation, We're going to support the cause, man. I want to see you get it.
I appreciate it,
so
bro.
All
Thank
good,
you.
man. Thanks
Cole,
so much for coming on the show, man. Love,
sure,
So, y'all, thank y'all for tuning into another episode of the Cole and Dre Show without Dre. But, Dre, you missing today, homie. Much love. But thank y'all for tuning in, man. This has been a great show. Hope you guys, a lot of jewels will drop by Joe Stephens over here, man. A lot of jewels will drop it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Cole. I'm out. Peace. Hey. Hey, man, what time it is, man? Hey. Relentless. Hey. 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 Hey, Cole. Boss straight. 2 mother, watch your mouth. No
don't count. All facts like what you talking about. Boy, listen and pay attention to what we talking about. We can show you how to make 100,000 in the drop.